Good afternoon, my friends. This is Paul, and today I'm going to be reviewing to you Sayonara Wild Hearts for the Nintendo Switch. The kind of game that feels like it would be published by Nintendo, but was actually published by Annapurna Interactive, as well as a small group of passionate indie developers with a total nobody named Queen Latifah as the narrator. Like, seriously, how many movies has she even been in? So, the reason why I say that this is a game Nintendo would make is that they're the one company that really prioritizes the fun factor over anything else, even sometimes over customer satisfaction. And this feels like the kind of game that takes that philosophy of Nintendo's and really amps it up to the extreme. Because at first glance, this may seem like a low poly, high octane collectathon. It also isn't afraid to switch up genres if it needs to. There are times when the game might decide, okay, this level would be more fun as a shooter. Or if there's a parallel universe involved. Or even if we make the graphics different. And I really appreciate the developers being willing to be flexible with the style of the game in order to realize their artistic vision. Now, if there's a story to this game, I am not the person that will talk about it. However, unlike most games that are very surreal and abstract like this, I actually love Sayonara Wild Hearts. I definitely think it was worthy of all the praise it got at the Game Awards. Except for one thing that I'm still baffled at. It's so short. I was able to beat the main campaign in about an hour or two, and each individual song or minigame takes only a fraction of that time. So it really feels like more of an extended WarioWare collection than anything else. I know that there is a secret mode if you get in gold rank on every stage, but I haven't tested that out yet. Thankfully the stages are short enough where I feel like I could do it with enough practice, and none of them ever feel too long or drawn out or like hurry up and end this already. In fact, if the stages get too hard for you, you actually have an option to do a super guide where the game just clears certain segments of the song for you, although they don't call it that. They call it granting a wish. Like I said, the story is very weird, and don't try to make sense of it, as it doesn't really enhance the gameplay in my opinion. Apparently it's like set in two timelines at the same time, all that nonsense. So, the main objective is the game, that you can control a girl named Claire, at least I think that's her name. They call her the heroine in the few times that there is dialogue, but the first song is called Claire, so why wouldn't her name be Claire? And she will be running, flying, zooming, and jumping all around these fast-paced levels that feel like DDR songs, but they're really more of just like the kind of stuff Platinum Games is famous for. It kind of reminded me a little bit of a combination of Astral Chain and Bayonetta if they weren't so sexualized. And while control input is very minimal in this game, you do have to be fairly precise. There are quick time events where you'll press the A button to dodge something, and I counted only once in the main game did you ever have to do quick time in conjunction with moving the control stick. So a lot of times the game is really good at making sure you're not doing more than you can handle. Now at first glance it seems like most of the levels don't give you much room to work with, as a lot of them are based on these really narrow corridors. However, it's really hard to put into words if you're not holding the controller in your hand, but somehow the developers don't make you feel like you're claustrophobic at all. If anything, the myriad of camera angles and narrow corridors actually helps you get better because there's less options to worry about when everything is going this blisteringly fast. Now, there were a handful of times when I felt like I couldn't see the objects coming up fast enough, but thankfully those weren't exactly frustrating because the save system is very forgiving and you can pretty much go right back to where you left off without too much penalty. I only encountered one level where I thought they sent me back a little bit too far. And overall, I think the action is so amazing that even if you didn't want to play this game for yourself, I think those of you that don't have motion sickness or are prone to seizures would find that this is an enjoyable game to do a Let's Play or a walkthrough on. In fact, I think the game developers must have figured people would do that, because after you beat all of the main stages, you get Album Arcade mode, where you can play through every level all at once in sequence and try to get like a combined high score for all of them. You can also get bronze, silver, and gold ranks depending on how many points you earned in each level. And the points are earned by not only by grabbing the hearts scattered throughout the stages, the big hearts actually give you speed boosts and other powers, but also by doing risky maneuvers, such as getting really close to an obstacle or enemy and just barely missing it. At the end of the stage, you'll usually have a heart to either go into or break in half. Ew, no one found this disgusting. And there's sometimes bosses, but they play out as more of like the high-speed forest chases in Star Wars Episode 6, if you know what I'm referring to. And I never got tired of seeing these thrills. They were such a joy to watch, even if screenshots would really not do this game justice, as on their own the graphics look incredibly dull and low poly, but when you combine them with the incredible frame rate and animation, they turn into one of the most stunning visual spectacles that the Switch has ever seen, and I'm really grateful that the developers could make it work on this system, as it definitely seemed like this was going to be a non-Switch exclusive for a while. So this game actually came out in 2019, so therefore I'm not going to give it my usual 2020 score. However, I would say that I don't have a whole lot of gripes with this. It really is a fantastic rhythm game. Besides the fact that it's too short and the story is completely nonsensical, there's not really a whole lot that I can reasonably complain about, unless if I was a stickler for saying, well, it's not an adventure like Breath of the Wild, or it's not an RPG like Fire Emblem, so therefore I'm not gonna like it just because I don't like the genre. I think if you like this kind of gameplay, you're gonna love Sayonara Wild Hearts. And I definitely think you owe it to yourself to at least give it a try because it's over so quickly. So even if you don't like it, you'll probably beat the game by the time you make up your mind. So with that, thank you very much for watching. If I left out anything, please let me know in the comments. And until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless, and I just want you folks to know that even though you can't see it, I'm giving out a heart for you because, I don't know, heart of the gospel, heart of Christ. They use the word heart a lot in Catholicism. I'll never understand that. Bye!